What's going on, everyone? My name is Will from Ghost Hack, and today I'm going to show you how to make really weird glitchy sounds from drums and bass using the free plugin Fracture. Alright, so Virtual Riot did a live stream quite a while ago where he was messing with a plugin called Buff Eater. He was using it in Reactor, and that plugin, it costs money. It's like $60 or something like that, which isn't that bad, but I found a free plugin that does pretty much the same basic things that Virtual Riot was doing with Buff Eater. He was using Buff Eater to make these glitchy, weird, transforming, like shutting down, stuttering, weird, glitchy sounds.
Yes, transformer noises.
And you can make sounds like that completely free of charge using this plugin, Fracture. It is made by the company Glitchmachines, and it is a very simple looking plugin. There isn't anything really crazy about this plugin, but you can get crazy sounds out of it. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do everything like on the video. I'm not going to make it and then show you how I did it. I'm going to do it right here, right now. So this is going to be fun. I don't know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to turn off the plugin for right now, and I want to just grab a drum loop. I have this one right here, which is just a short little drum loop. It's from Halftime Drum Loops, which is currently on the Ghost Hack store, but it just sounds like this. It's a cool kind of glitchy, strange, warping drum loop. So I'm going to start with this drum loop, and eventually I'll do the same thing to like basses and bass sounds, but right now I just want to run this through channel 1 where Fracture is sitting right here. So if we enable Fracture, this is the initial sound, which is a little strange. We don't want it quite that stagnant and dry. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dry wet and I'm going to turn it all the way up. So now we have the complete like the complete wet sound. Yeah, that's not quite what we want as like a final result, but it's something to start off with. I'll start with this right here. I think I will turn this delay mix up to about here will be fine. This is basically adding a little bit of delay, and we can adjust the time and the feedback right here. And you can recognize these from other plugins, such as like Inside Serum. You can recognize things like a flanger will do this, or even just the delay will do this. It'll make these really metallic sounds. I'll leave it about there for now, and we can mess with that later. Maybe I'll turn this down a little bit. But what we really want to focus in on is this part right here, because we have this part, which is kind of the glitchy kind of buffer. That's the really weird part that's going to mess up the sound. Then we have the filter, and then we have the delay. Those are the 3 sections. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this one, this one, this one, and these 3 knobs, and I'm going to create automation clips for all of them. And the fastest way to do that in FL Studio is just to click this knob and then move this around a little bit, and then right click and hit create automation clip. Now you have the automation clip. Okay, so now we have all the automation clips. You can see we have the size, the repeats, and the ratio, the 3 right here. Then we have the modulation depth for each of these with these knobs right here. And moving these things around in just random positions is what's going to make it get a weird sound. So let's just go ahead and make some weird shapes for each of these patterns. I'll be right back. Alright, so we have our random patterns, and as we scroll through, you can see the levels changing on the plugin itself. You can see how things are moving around. And now, if we give it a listen, I have no clue what this is going to sound like. We'll just see if we get something interesting. Alright, there are some parts in there that were pretty cool, but there were some parts in there that were also kind of messy. So what you can do to make more variations and try to get more cool stuff is just duplicate this drum loop and then move this around, and then we can make a slice right in the middle here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take half of these, let's just take this, this, and move them to the side here, then take this part and scoot them back. So now we have a completely different set of automation, things that are changing that aren't the same in the other part, and this is automatically going to add a lot of variation. And obviously when it loops back and forth, it's going to be different sounds running through the plugin because the plugin itself is kind of modulating on top of itself. It's very strange, and we can probably harness some bits and pieces. I am a fan of the way that sounds. Next off, I'm just going to add a little bit of EQing. I think I'll take out the really weird low end. And that should clean it up a little bit. And then I'm actually going to run it through a vocoder, specifically Vocodex, to give it a little more fatness. So now that we have a Vocodex with these settings right after the fracture, it kind of fattens it up and gives it a little more body. Now, as I said before, there are parts of that we like and we don't like. So the best thing to do, I would say, is just add an Edison right afterward so we can record this out. And I just hit on input and I can just let it play for a minute. Now we have a long recording of this sample that we just edited together, and it's going to sound slightly different on a lot of different places, but now that we have the audio recording, we can take specific spots and we can export them or use them how we want. Like, for example, I kind of like this bit right here. It sounds like some weird kind of maybe turntable scratch sliding around. It's just like some weird mess of sound. And I like it, and I could use that later. I could save it. But now we have the work done right here. All we have to do to make something completely different is drop in a different sample. So if we were to take a different drum loop. That one's actually already pretty glitchy. So we could use this guy now and get completely different results. I actually like that guy a lot better. And we're getting all of those sounds out of just one file. Imagine just going through your sample library and throwing anything you can in here. The results from this are just infinite. So here is one of the bass loops from Dubstep Sound Arsenal. Now I think it could sound pretty cool with all this glitchiness over it. Go in, change this to resample, and of course the tempo is 150 because it is a dubstep pack. So now we can just press play and see if we chose the right file. If not, we can choose a different file and maybe get some better sounds, but let's see what it sounds like. All right, we get some really interesting sounds out of that. I like how that sounds generally, but I think it needs some breaks in here. Like, let's just add a few breaks just here and there and mix it up a little bit. So let's separate these maybe by this much, these by that much, just a little bit of space in here. And we can just take that. And I think adding those little breaks and little spaces just seems to give it a little bit of extra like structure, like you have more areas you can work instead of just one solid long file. It gives some kind of percussive hits room to decay and stuff like that. Also, this is such a weird plugin that even after it's done playing, you still hear things moving around, and you know you have to hit stop a couple of times because it keeps outputting sound. But now let's do the same thing. Let's just record it out and find some good spots. Like this spot in particular is pretty good. Especially that last hit. Could definitely throw that in the back. Or maybe this little glitchy hovery bit. This one definitely sounds like a transformer. So tons of weird results, infinite possibilities, throwing in anything you can, loops, vocals, basses, effects, just whatever you want to throw in here, you can get something cool out of it. And I just modulated, you know, just these right here. I could even work with this, like this is some weird mod depth for the delay time. You could work with the filter if you wanted. I think this is like some weird LFO, and there's like a ton of presets, and this is free. There's no reason for you to not go and just check this out from Glitchmachines. And we are not sponsored by Glitchmachine or this plugin in any way to do this video. There is just a lot of sound design to be done out here, and I want to give you guys as much information as I can. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video and want more videos like it, you can hit subscribe because we're coming out with more music production videos and tutorials all the time. So I will see you guys in the next video. Happy producing.